I'm really interested in your no news rule because I'm of the exact same opinion as you. I've written about this, and yeah, it's been a huge positive change in my life. I used to be the type of person who would come home and the news would go on and it would be on, like you said, kind of in the background, and
Hmm.
it would really get me fired up about stuff.
Yeah.
And I never found that there was any tangible action I was taking from watching the news. It was just a source of aggravation.
Yeah.
Have you found that from cutting it out? I'm sure it's been largely good, like for me. But are there any blind spots that you have because of that? Like, is there any reason that we should maybe be watching the news?
That's what I've tried to do to have books on my list that do get into more of the history of
Mm,
what's going on. I mean, even this Lyndon B. Johnson series right now, I mean, I'm learning more that I think is applicable to our current situation in that book alone than any news story I think I could write. And it's getting me interested in things that I think are more helpful in understanding the news. One thing that's really and just from reading other books is the more that we can go back to the original documents on stuff, whether it's a bill that's in the House right now, whether it is I mean, just even the books. Like I was listening to your interview with Tommy, who's going through the great books,
yeah,
and it's like, how much better off would we be if we're actually reading those books as opposed to like books that talk about those books.
right.
Um, but just reading the actual books, which is very against how, at least how I had school growing up. We were given textbooks that
Right.
would talk about different ideas in different books, but like, later on you would maybe get to the books, but it's almost like it was trying to keep you away from that. So yeah, I think I'm losing things by not being as involved in seeing what's going on in the news. But a couple responses to that. One, like the big things you will hear about, your friends will text you about. I mean, like some major things that have happened, and maybe I don't have the news on, so I know about them right away. Like my wife lets me know about them, my family, a friend. So you will hear about the big thing. Like I don't think you need to worry about missing the big things.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, just secondly, if we can kind of try to switch back to more of the source documents on things, and really just go to those as opposed to going to news, which is somebody's having to create a narrative for that news station. So this is something I see a lot in the books I read as well. Like there's a narrative behind it. And that's fine. That's just how it works. And so we as people are naturally going to gravitate to the organizations that present the narrative that we like,
Of
or that
course.
we think in. So then every article is, or every story is filtered through that, to where you can go to another station and they're talking about the same thing, but it doesn't even sound like the same thing.
Right.
So what if we just went to that thing, like the original thing, and either read the bill, which yeah, it's going to be hard, and it might take a long time to understand how these bills are presented, and the history behind them and all that. But it's like, I think that would be a better use of our time than reading the news. It's harder, but there's more benefit in that.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the news has become less about being informed and more about being entertained. So for
Yeah.
me, I can derive my entertainment from plenty of other things than the news. So I just kind of say, let me put this to the side. But you make a great point about trying to find the source documents and going as close to the original thing as you can, and then coming up with your own opinion based on your interpretation of it.